Today, the African National Congress will begin their policy conference in Nasrec. Caucus Lekgotla has given the go-ahead on the policy conference discussion documents, which include discussions on the strengthening of economic recovery and social transformation. Now, Letepe Maisela is a management consultant, a published author and socio-political commentator. He joins us now just for some conversation on the policy conferences. You've seen, all of these 5 other policy conferences, engaged with the conversations. Are the ANC policy, welcome by the way,
Thank you.
Are the ANC policy conversations strengthening or weakening as we progress?
Well, as you mentioned, there have been 5 already, that is in the democratic era. What people also forget is that we have had a lot more before then. The first one being in 1912. So over the years, the ANC had even out in exile policy conferences. Mm-hmm. And I think the 6th one that's taking place as from today is just a continuation of those conferences. To me, a policy conference, if I have to wear my management consultant hat, it's like a strategic planning session.
No firm decisions are taken there. Just determining direction.
It's formulating strategy. For the organization and the country. You see, now, like all strategies, you go through things like a vision, the mission, objectives, deliverables.
Would you agree, though, that at this current juncture, South Africans are not so clear about what the ANC strategy is, what its strategic direction is?
Yeah, and that should be the outcome of such conferences, to clarify society and all about the direction in which they're taking the country.
So in this particular meeting, will be the first time that President Cyril Ramaphosa addresses a full complement of ANC members since the last conference. This came about as a result of multiple factors, including COVID-19, forcing everything to go digital. But today we're hearing that disgruntled ANC members are threatening to go to court to challenge the compiled delegates attending this policy conference. What sort of mood are we looking out for with this particular meeting?
Those diversions are unfortunate, and probably they have to do with procedure and governance. And I think there are diversions that shouldn't be entertained that much. They need to be looking at right now we've got problems in the country. We know that we have high unemployment rate. We know that we are having outages on water and electricity. We know that the cost of living has shot up because of petrol prices and all that. Mm-hmm. And those are issues that need to be tackled rather than commit diversions. One big diversion is the step aside, rule. To me, that's simply a governance principle that should not be used to divert attention from critical issues.
So we're watching live footage coming out from Nasrec. There's been concerns this morning that the program hasn't started as supposed to, but I see that the chairperson is already on the stage, Mr. Gwede Mantashe, and we expect proceedings will begin any moment now. The discussion documentations, consistently the word challenges come up. Challenges. Yeah. Is there any area of ANC policy progression where we can say that there has been successes here and the party and by extension government is on track? The earlier days, from 1994, I think the ANC and even the country, they did quite well. And then later, I think the road just set in. I don't know whether people were no longer that diligent in their duties. So I think right now what we need to do, instead of actually even
moving or looking forward is to look backward and say, what did we do right in the early years, 94, 95, 96, 97, that we can replicate today.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean when you say the rot set in? You've been watching the movement through the years. At what point for you did that rot set in? I was listening to a commentator this morning talking about how President Thabo's call for that social compact to be rushed, to be chased by the ANC, just in case social discomfort comes through. And they were saying that the former president, is disingenuous because he's not talking about when these problems started to happen, even during his time in office. So when you say when the rot started to set in, do you have a time frame for that?
Yeah, there is a time frame for that. If I can just briefly take you backward, that we started with the Ready to Govern slogan that led to the RDP. Mm-hmm. Okay,
I'm going to have to chase you a bit because I'm watching events and the program is supposed to officially start.
Yeah, no, I'll speed up. Mm-hmm. Then we came to gear, which was during the era of President Thabo Mbeki. And then after gear, in 2017, we got into the RET, Radical Economic Transformation, which, by the way, had very good elements in terms of free education, tertiary education, land distribution, and all those. And of course, black business getting
but
a
it's
chunk.
Now being used to stoke division within the party.
Yeah. And then I don't know, somewhere we lost the moral, code.
Just in summation to our conversation, what do you hope will come out of this particular activation within the African National Congress?
What needs to come out is that, a policy conference needs to be facilitated very well, in a proper manner. Otherwise, it can lead to unrealistic goals. And we have seen like RET, it can widen the gulf between opposing factions. It can weaken the team and create distractions. So the new envisaged ANC vision, in my opinion, it needs to restore itself to the early 1990s glory.
And just as we watch the overall environment, political environment in South Africa, the EFF this week also marking their birthday, what are your thoughts about the economic freedom fighters and how they have contributed to the political space in South Africa?
Every democratic setup need to have a good opposition. But, the opposition must also think in terms of the needs of the country, not for itself as an opposition. And that is where I think political parties in this country, they lack. They forget that there's a country to run, and they concentrate on their individual political parties.
Dr. Maisela, thank you so much for coming through to talk to us this morning, just as we look forward to the beginning of that program. It's a bit delayed, the program at the 6th ANC Policy